What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 20 of Hyperspace Hype. We have new date. Thursdays now we're gonna be testing out. So we got a lot of stuff dropped. That's gonna be fun to discuss. All different things in the canon. But we are joined with our full crew as always. We got Brandon.
Hey everyone, welcome. Good to be back. We're trying out a new schedule. We're doing Thursday now. Since there's no new episode coming out on Friday. So we're just going to give this a shot, see how we do, and see what you guys think. So, yeah, let's get into it.
Also joining us, we got Carson.
I'm here. Anyways, yeah, new day, but no less stuff to talk about. I think we have, so much to talk about, and I'm sure that somehow we'll manage to either talk about it really quickly in about 30 minutes or talk about it for 2 hours. So hopefully we hit a sweet spot. Let's do this.
And as always, we got Evan.
Don't worry, Carson. I have a lot of notes. I'm just trying to prolong this episode for as long as we can. It's great to be here on a Thursday. It feels like I just finished talking to you guys about the Clone Wars finale, and now we're already shooting another episode. So let's go. We have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I think we've been doing a show every 3 days now.
Yeah.
So yeah, a week break
never stops.
due after this. But so a lot of different things to discuss. I think to kick off to begin with, we have launched a new behind-the-scenes series called Disney Gallery in regards to The Mandalorian. Episode 1 came out. It was a roundtable of the director's discussion. I had just finished checking out the episode just a few seconds ago, and I gotta say, it's some of my favorite stuff. Some of my all-time favorite Star Wars stuff is the making of it, especially the whole prospect of directing the entire thing. So this was a really great thing to experience. What did you guys think of the episode?
I thought it was really good. A lot of people have an issue with this, but I enjoyed how much time they dedicated to my man Filoni, especially after that Clone Wars finale. He deserved that screen time.
Yeah.
But overall, showing how all the directors think and how they choose to put the actors in certain places, I really enjoyed that aspect of it, seeing how they ran the show,
Yeah, totally. It's funny you say that, Brandon, because going in, I had that perspective, okay, a lot of people said there's a lot of Filoni in here. And yeah, it makes sense because he's the creator of the show, co-creator in a sense. And a lot of directors even said, we wouldn't even have this show if it wasn't for Dave Filoni. But going in, yeah, I liked a lot of what Dave Filoni had to say. I liked a lot of what the other directors had to say as well. I wish we got to hear a bit more from them, but that's really my only complaint. Hopefully we get to learn more about them in the other fields. Maybe not. I forget what the other episodes are going to be about, but it was cool learning more about Dave Filoni, and I've heard that story before. Starting off with that whole conversation he had with the person trying to get him an interview with George Lucas.
And he thought it was a prank.
And he thought it was a prank.
It's so perfect.
Which is so great. I've heard that story before, but this one was kind of longer and more in depth. And I really like that whole story.
Yeah, and I liked it too. The more I think about it, I think I was a little it was awkward at first. 'Cause I'm when are they gonna cut? But they just let him tell the story. But I think it just, to me, especially how appreciative we've been the last week about Clone Wars and George Lucas as a whole, it's great to see that legacy still have influence, and love to see that because he truly passed his stuff down to Dave in a very specific way, I think. And as much as the prequel trilogy is probably George's baby, so is the Clone Wars in a lot of ways. He got to do a lot of stuff that he didn't get to do in live action, if you think about it. And it's cool to see Dave come back and then get trained by a new person in Jon Favreau, who has all this experience with live action stuff. And I love that kind of thing from the documentary, is Dave Filoni being yeah, it's great to have Jon as a mentor, because it's a completely different ballgame when you're shooting live actors and you're trying to solve problems. I really liked getting to hear from each of the directors too, and I think it was a little broader than I expected. I was hoping that they maybe would dive into specific days of the shoot, or some problems that they actually had to overcome. It was a little more oh, we were a team and we figured it out and it was good, and which is fine to me. And like Evan said, I think we're going to dive into later episodes with more technical stuff. But I think this is a good starting episode, and it kind of really fulfilled my like craving for this behind the scenes stuff. Especially, I haven't watched the Skywalker Legacy or whatever on the Rise of Skywalker Blu-ray. I just haven't had the I don't know, the motivation to do it yet.
The mental fortitude.
Yeah, and so this was really nice to kind of go into, it was right after Clone Wars that I watched this too, so it's like you get all the emotions, and I could kind of just sit back and enjoy all these creators gushing about Star Wars.
It's funny you say that, Carson, about like it being a bit broad and not delving into the specifics, because some of my favorite parts were, like you said, like the rare moments when they got to be specific. Like you got that with I think Deborah a little bit when Gina Carano was talking about what makes Deborah different from the other directors, and she's talking about how she's very fierce, but she's also, Deborah said herself, she's looking for those fun and genuine kind of moments. And it's cool when you get to see their quotes and kind of like match it up with those aspects of the episode. Like when she was talking about those genuine moments, you see that like in episode 3 when the Mando's like in that wagon, I guess, towards the end of the episode. He's sitting there, he feels like all hope is lost, and then the other Mandos come in. Just those small, genuine, emotional moments amidst all that action that we all associate with episode 3.
Yeah, and I guess this partly is probably my expectations. I was going into it thinking it would kind of be like a Phantom Menace style, like, okay, we're going to document like the timeline of how everything went down, and kind of like the overall journey, but it kind of just jumped into it right away. And I don't know, like I still love the episode. It's just like, they're talking like, especially into the roundtable format, they're like, oh, we gave Bryce the hardest episode and she had to like shoot with all these things. I'm like, I want to see how they shot that. How did they like plan to shoot with an ATST? How do you direct actors when you don't actually have an ATST there, and like trying to like do all that stuff. I wish we got more of that specific stuff, and we still could, but
I agree.
Yeah. It was a fun time just seeing like everybody just like the brightest smiles on their faces whenever like a new director is on Star Wars for the first time. It's always magical.
Can we talk about the Darksaber being real?
Oh yeah. Like we saw a little bit with that when Taika was talking about his stuff. They kind of just like spliced it in with Taika's story, and you just hear Giancarlo Esposito, you just see him like with that live action Darksaber, just flipping it around. I'm like, holy crap, that's freaking awesome. Like nobody's just going to talk about that. Hopefully they do later on when they talk about like costumes and prep or whatever.
They'll probably talk about it in like regards to some story beats, but I think since I'd imagine like they only really film stuff for season 1 with just that, so they're just saving the season 2 stuff for when that comes.
Yeah. It's funny because most of this stuff, like Carson was saying, I wish it did get more specific. And most of the stuff, when they're talking, they're intersplicing it with footage of stuff like I would actually like them to talk about more. It was kind of funny because like you get a story from Bryce talking about her story with her dad and Akira Kurosawa and George, and I love that stuff. I love those kind of like behind the scenes kind of stories. But it was interspliced with Bryce directing episode 4. And she's directing the whole AT-AT sequence and the whole nighttime sequence. And you get a little bit of cuts of her saying, like, okay, Gina, I want you to do this. I want you to do this. Like, I wish we got more of that.
Yeah.
And how exactly she coached Gina. Because she was talking about it, how she's very good at getting what the actors need to do, which I think is the strongest part.
Especially because she is an actor, It's a different perspective that we don't really have.
Yeah, the other directors don't have it all. They're not mostly actors. I mean, Taika's been in some of his own movies, but Bryce really comes from like that actor background. And you kind of see that in episode 4. Like she was talking about how there's a lot of emotional moments and genuine moments that she wants in her episodes. And you see that with the whole Mando and I forget the lady in episode 4 that she meets, the villager.
Yeah, where she almost takes the mask off and all that.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite moments because it's just that emotional character beat that you don't see as much in all the other episodes. It makes it very unique.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited to see where the future episodes dive in. I saw our update like came on like right before we went live that there was the next episode's called Legacy, and they're going to be sitting down with the cast and crew
Ooh,
Round
cool.
stuff for that.
Okay, yeah, nice. I like that kind of stuff. A lot
Is
of round
Werner in it?
tables.
I hope Werner's in it.
That'd be awesome. So, Warner, what brought you into Star Wars? It's like a paycheck.
The baby.
Bring me the baby.
Yeah, so it was a fantastic show. Keeping rolling with Mando, it's cool to see a lot of season 2 stuff start to pop up, including confirmed directors. One big name being Robert Rodriguez, confirmed officially, which is really cool. Excited to see these different, just like how not only episodes will be handled from. I'm sure we'll get like returning directors. Like I know they also confirmed Dave is doing only 1 episode this season.
Yeah.
Very interesting,
Also
actually.
getting new people on as well.
Disney saw the gunslinger and then we're like, nope.
Oh, that's messed up.
Brutal. No, but I like.
It was a good episode though.
Yeah, was
I
it?
still like it. It's all right. All right. Moving on.
Do you like it, Carson? Be honest.
No, I do, but I like parts of it. Anyway. Anyways, I think this kind of harkens back to what Favreau was actually saying in this episode 1 of the behind the scenes. It's kind of like a whole. It's an approach that they have this big group of people and different filmmakers that, yes, they're telling this one consecutive story, but they all have an opportunity to kind of like put their touch on it. And I think it's a good entry point for Star Wars directors. And then, we're going to talk about Taika's thing later, but I think it's a good building block show for a lot of directors to get into Star Wars very quickly and perhaps more efficiently, not as a commitment to a whole film. I mean, there's still tons of work in one TV episode, but I'm very excited about the Robert Rodriguez news, specifically because I feel like his sensibility comes from absolutely like maximizing his budget completely with nothing, and to going to all the way to Alita with like all of Weta Digital at his disposal. And it's going to be super interesting to see his experience go into Star Wars, just of how much he's done from like an indie filmmaking side to like blockbusters. So I'm super curious what his episodes look like.
I'm actually intrigued by that. Because yeah, it is like Star Wars is like that big medium, but I feel like when you look at the the sequel trilogy versus the Mandalorian, I feel like there's a big difference in like the mega spectacle blockbuster of it. It feels like even more grounded in a sense. So I feel like the Robert Rodriguez we're gonna get is I mean there may be like some elements of like his Alita type directing, but I feel like with the action and stuff, he's probably gonna go more of his Sin City type.
Yeah.
Grittiness,
Oh, I
maybe.
hope so.
Not like R-rated or anything, but like I think he's gonna like handle some great action.
He gets the one R-rated episode of Mandalorian.
I don't know, Maul decapitated troopers in an animation. Well, you could probably do.
That's
some
true.
I mean, Mando chopped the guy in half with the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. They're great at like effective cutaways.
It's interesting because I'm excited for Robert Rodriguez to join the Star Wars directing group, but I haven't actually seen a lot of Robert Rodriguez movies. Like I've seen Alita. I haven't seen any of the Sin City movies ever before.
You should
Go
go back and watch some of his early stuff. Like I
feel like
name some of his early stuff for me.
I feel like some of the Desperado films.
Desperado.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe I should get into that stuff.
But
It's funny because I'm more.
Nathan-
Yeah.
Nathan needs to tell the story of what we were talking about this the other day when this was first announced, that like this
there was
man
some,
like
he was starting
sold
to-
himself to science to like get money for his first feature or something. I can't remember what the
Yeah,
context
I was
was.
like reading online of something about like he
Stole
like to
himself.
kick off his film career. It was in his book he published in the 90s that he
Mm.
sold his body to science
Who
to
was
get
it?
the money. For I think like $7,000
Robert Rodriguez.
Oh my god! Wow.
just to get a kickstart in his film career, and it worked. I mean,
Yeah.
Y'all got to start somewhere.
I love how he kind of expands on that in Alita towards the beginning.
Oh, yeah. I think Alita is like one of the only ones I actually remember being Robert Rodriguez. Did he do the Spy Kids movies? Or that's
Yeah,
somebody
Yeah,
else?
he did
Oh,
Spike
man.
or one.
primarily influenced though for like making him for his kids and stuff like Shark Boy and Lava Girl and all that.
Okay, I like Spy Kids. That was fun.
Me too. No, yeah, they're
Yeah,
great.
it's fun.
But he
Those
also
are my
found like a
favorite
knack
movies.
of like I can like really pump out some cheap effects like on green screen stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like I can like do it, and like it worked. Like it works pretty well for his demographic and stuff. But also he did the exact same thing on Sin City with like better contrast and stuff, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I always remember seeing the commercials and trailers for Sin City and being like, that doesn't look like it's for me. But I don't know. Maybe I'm more into film now these days. I should just go back and watch some of his films.
Oh, Machete is another one.
Yeah,
never saw that one. Yeah,
which in Spy Kids, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
and then it looks like Grindhouse, 2007's Grindhouse was co-directed by him and Tarantino.
Yeah,
interesting.
Tarantino directed one of the stories in Sin City as well.
Yeah.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah. Which leads us to our next director,
Quentin Tarantino.
Oddly enough,
Peyton Reed.
Rosario Dawson is in Grindhouse.
Oh wow!
So,
the Ahsoka episode. No, I'm kidding.
No, there's like he does have Robert does have a long running list of like actors he like reuses.
Oh sweet.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Brendan said, we have Peyton Reed joining the gang as well, and Peyton Reed from the biggest movie of all time, Ant-Man,
and the Wasp,
and the Wasp too. That one too.
Carson's favorite.
Yeah. I actually don't mind Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah, it's cool.
Come on,
Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon.
I don't want to.
Yeah, talk about him. You guys.
Yeah, honestly, great if anybody.
Sean over here in the comments. Peyton Reed hype.
See, Sean's on board. Sean's on board.
I'm with Karsten here. Like Peyton Reed hype. Like, what's his directing style? Like, it's the same thing for a lot of the Marvel movies. Like, if they showed me, like Captain, if I wasn't a big film fan, if they showed me like Captain America: Winter Soldier, I'm like, okay, that's definitely a Russo Brothers movie. I can't really tell the difference these days, but especially with Peyton Reed and people like John Hamm. Wow, people love.
Thank you, Trevor. Thank you, Trevor.
I'm shocked.
No, I'm shocked too. I guess. Thank you. I don't know. And he's a cool guy. I think he's very talented. Sure.
You stuttered there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I try to back up why he's so talented. I mean, I can't do an Ant-Man movie, but I mean, I like the effects. Ant-Man has a lot of heart. I like Ant-Man better than the second one.
Yeah, I do too. I think he'll be a good. I don't think his episode's going to be bad by any episodes. I don't know how many episodes he directed, but I just have a lot of other people that I would do first before him, just because of like, I feel like he's like the most like form-fitting name you could do if you just need a director to fill a slot for an episode. Like, oh, I'll just get Peyton Reed; it'll be serviceable. Like, you know, and I don't want serviceable for The Mandalorian. I mean, I don't know. I have a feeling that his episode, maybe, at least to me, in season 1 of Mandalorian, like you watch Rick's episodes, you're like, that's a Faminua episode. That's a Deborah Chow episode. Dave Filoni, not as much in his live action stuff. And so I feel like he might be that kind of weak link for season 2. I hate to say it, but we'll see.
Filoni or Reed?
Reed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think both might actually be the weak links going in, which is
I have a feeling you guys might walk out of there saying this was a Peyton episode.
Yeah, but whether that's good or bad, we'll see.
Because it wasn't anyone else's.
Yeah, we should clip that out for when season 2 comes out. We're like, you know what, Brandon was right.
I would love to be proven wrong. Like, prove me wrong, Peyton Reed. Like, seriously.
Nathan, I will even give you the ammo right now. Put me in full screen. I will say that right here. This was a Peyton episode.
Wow. Good stuff there, Brandon. I mean,
I'd say in regards to Filoni, though, I feel like he's still definitely trying to find his legs in live action. And I'm sure these were good test runs to begin with. But
he even admits that in the Mando episode, which is cool, that he knows that it's a learning curve, which I'm all for it.
For sure. And then I like see him like walking around the sets like on everybody else's episodes that they're directing. So I'm sure he's taking in everything like as it goes. I mean, like the whole thing was like when he was called from George, it was after Revenge of the Sith, so George was done directing live action. So anytime he was like working together, it was all in the animation department and stuff. So I think now that he's actually in the world of live action development, like constantly, I think he'll get a better flow.
I was kind of blown away. Like, I forgot to mention this. I was kind of blown away that Tatooine was all like in a film set.
Right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Wasn't the whole show in a film set?
Yeah,
It felt like
basically.
it.
Mostly, yeah.
Which is crazy. Like, you expect most of them to film like in Jordan or whatever, but no, most of it was filmed on that film set, which
I
they
love
didn't really
seeing,
talk about much. But
They will
seeing
in the
Filoni
ILM
sit in the,
episode, I'm sure.
I love seeing Filoni sit in the chair and like they're just directing the space ship chase, and he's just sitting direct track and he's like right, left, like the whole motion of it. And I'm just like,
look up,
I love that.
He's like, look up, there's a blaster going right past you. He's like, oh.
it was really funny because
It's
he was
the
like giving
exciting
directions.
thing.
Yeah.
I imagine that's how like a lot of Star Wars fans would be, and that's great. Like he's worked on this for so long, and even just like the simple, most common effect in all of Star Wars, a blaster going by, he's like, oh, it's so cool.
Yeah, you can tell he was such a fan. And those are one of the crumbs I really liked in this documentary when he's talking about like, hey, I'm not the best live action, never actually did live action, but it was really cool to get taught from John about how to do this and that. And yeah, each of the directors had like specific stuff that they learned from Jon Favreau. One of my favorites that I noted was how Rick was talking about how he did everything in film before this. Like he did Dope and he did, I forget what else he did, but he's so used to film that John actually had to help him in terms of trying to do a TV show, which is kind of unique because you don't really associate John with TV, but John really helped out Rick there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, good point, Sean.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, I can't wait for them to dig deeper into that in the documentary because
Yeah, me too.
so awesome.
I really hope they dedicate not like an episode, but an entire. I hope they just give it like a good lengthy segment to it, though.
It's testing out directors to see. Yeah, like going off of that comment, I really hope they bring Rick to do a live action film sooner rather than later, because some of his beats here in the documentary was some of my favorite parts, where he's talking about shining a light, specifically this comment where he says, "I want to shine a light on the people that don't get a lot of cameras shined on them that much," and he associated that with Jawas, but I also immediately went to like the three main kids from Dope. Like a minority group having a whole movie about them going on a unique adventure. Like that's very rare these days. Seeing that
in this era of Star Wars is so we're in the perfect time because we're departed from the Skywalker saga, and so anything that he gets would pretty much give him any opportunity to kind of sketch out that kind of story on his own terms, which I think is the most exciting part about the future of Star Wars right now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, so it's exciting future for the Mandalorian. I'm excited to see just where we're taken with the whole journey. I think it's going to be a great ride overall. Moving on to another topic, we have officially have the confirmation that Leslye Headland will be developing her series for the. I imagine it's Disney Plus because they said series, not specifically film.
Yeah, Disney Plus.
Yeah, so. And we have still like no complete knowledge whatsoever, except we're going to have primary female-focused leads. So
yeah,
it's just like deep speculation at this point as to what it's even going to be.
Yeah, it was interesting because the press release was literally like, the whole Taika news. Leslye Headland series confirmed. Cassian Kenobi still in development. End of note. It was very like okay, get to the point, but we got so much news on May the 4th that I was so happy that this series. It's always a good day when StarWars.com confirms something because you find that like era of speculation is over and you don't have to be like, oh my God, is this happening or is this not happening? Well, at least for we could go back and forth if the Ryan trilogy movie is still happening or all those other things. But I'm really excited that she got the job, and it sounds like she's had the job for a while. And same with Taika and the 1917 writer, which we'll get to in a second. But it's just cool that it seems like they're kind of hopefully pinning down people that they do not lose to creative differences and stuff. And I hope these make the landing.
Yeah. And hopefully, this whole next era of Star Wars, ever since Rise of Skywalker, is about sticking with creators and not having them leave. Like we just had that with the Cassian Andor showrunner having to depart in replacement
And
of
with
Tony
Kenobi,
Gilroy.
with writers, and
and Kenobi. So hopefully, from now on, we stick with it. Hopefully, it's a new phase in Star Wars moving forward. But yeah, I'm super excited for Leslye joining the Star Wars universe. I was so nervous because when we were talking about it, wasn't really confirmed, and you know how long it takes for Star Wars to confirm stuff these days.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I was very excited that they finally just came out there and confirmed it with that headline. Of course, we don't know anything it's about. Female-driven action thriller with martial arts, and then that's all rumors. But I really,
Oh yeah, I mean they didn't specifically say that in their
really hope that.
release. So, but if it is in that vein of
Mm.
that, it sounds great.
and I'm so excited to catch up on what's her show called, Russian Doll.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Is it like a limited series, or is it like, you guys know, or is it
I
like
think it's like 8 30-minute episodes.
I
Okay.
agreed. Yeah, I think it's like 8 30-minute episode, which I for some reason I still haven't watched. I'm in quarantine. I have no excuse. I
That's
should
like
really
super
watch it.
short.
That's kind of something that we can speculate about early on. It's like, do you guys think for most of these Disney Plus shows, I'll leave the Kenobi out of discussion because I think it's going to be a limited 6 episodes, probably a little bit longer in runtime. Do you think they're going to try to hit the like 30-minute mark episodes, or do you think they're going to be like premium, like 45 to an hour? Or what do you think these episodes really going to be?
I'm thinking maybe they'll stick with their what they typically do by like 40 minutes in between.
40 minutes.
'Cause it was interesting with Mando that we had like a fluctuating runtime, because we had some that were like over 30, right, and some that were like 24, and some that were like just different times. So I'm curious, like, if they, because given I'm assuming a lot of these are going to have a pretty big budget for TV wise, hopefully, like Mando, and so it's a lot of Star Wars when you add up all these episodes. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I was initially shocked when Mando was all like, what was it, 29? I think the longest Mando episode was like 35 minutes, 40 minutes long.
I think 42 was the
42?
first episode.
I think that was
Really?
the premiere, yeah.
what? Yes,
Wow.
Bryce is the longest. I can't remember.
I'll look it up. I'll look up the.
Yeah, I'm thinking around 30 minutes, which is funny because it seemed like a lot of the Mando episodes were around the length of what we got for the Siege of Mandalore Clone Wars stuff. Like 29 minutes, 28, 26, 30, shortest being
So
like
the
23.
runtimes are listed. Episode 1 was 39. Episode 2, 32. Episode 3, 37. Episode 4, 41. Episode 5, 35. Episode 6, 43. Episode 7, 40. Episode 8 was 48 minutes, the longest one.
Okay. Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say the finale was.
So
I
yeah,
remember when we got to Gunslinger and it was like a really short episode. I'm like, wait, we waited a week for this?
yeah, it was short and it wasn't very impactful. But
But Tatooine, Mos Eisley.
Tatooine, the most beautiful and peaceful place in the Star Wars universe.
I did love seeing the
favorite
empty
there one day.
cantina.
But yeah, I say 30 to 40 minutes, I guess, is going to be their norm. But yeah, that works out for me. And I hope a lot of these series are only like one season. That's what I'm assuming.
Oh, really?
Kenobi, Cassian.
I think Kenobian will be what. I think Cassian might go more.
Cassian-
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like Cassian could carry like a solid 2 seasons.
Do we have
Yeah.
confirmation on the time period? Was it like 5 years before?
5
Yeah.
years before Rogue One.
So, depending on how they set up, like the early stages of rebellion or whatnot, and like what the actual plot would be, I think that could carry on.
Oh, they did.
But I think-
confirm, Mon Mothma will be returning for that as well.
Yeah,
Yep, super excited.
which is so weird that press release went out and they didn't like tweet it out or anything. It was just up on StarWars.com. I think it was dropped in like the breakdown show.
Yeah.
Weekly News,
Yeah,
but it
the-
didn't like get tweeted out or anything. And it was like 3 actors were confirmed for the show, including Mon Mothma. So
Yeah. But I really hope I'm really hoping these things are only one season, because that way we can get new creatives every new TV show. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
Uh-huh.
And it was interesting because in that press release for Leslie's show, she's going to be doing the show running, but it didn't say anything about directing for any of her episodes yet. So I'm very curious what kind of directors they get for her. Maybe are they all going to be female directors for her TV show? Hopefully that's the case. Because interestingly enough, for Mando season 2, all we have are Filoni, Rick, Peyton, and Robert. That's 4. And that's if they're only doing
Carl Weathers.
Favreau's gonna drink.
5 is John Favreau, and then Carl Weathers is rumored to be 1, and that's 6 right there. And that's if they're all doing one episode. And those are all guys.
Do we have a
Just so
confirmed that
different.
they're only doing 8 again?
Isn't Bryce coming back?
I'm not sure.
I heard Bryce is coming
Is she?
back.
Do you guys think they're only going to do 8 episodes like last season, or maybe bump it up to 10?
I heard it was just 8 again.
It's got to be 8.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 8.
I mean,
That's how
they
quickly
wrap
they
pretty
wrapped.
quickly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, is it now? I'm thinking like, did we hear something about it being 10 episodes? Am I making that up in my mind?
Even 9, they could just like push one more. I don't know.
They can push one more.
Yeah, it could be like a Game of Thrones thing of like, oh,
Yeah.
some are 9, some are 10, some are
Yeah.
7, 4. I don't even know. I can't remember the show.
Yeah, you know where they old yellow baby Yoda, Nathan?
Haha.
Oh, yeah,
Theories. Speculation.
speaking of 4, Carson, you were joking there, but didn't they say Kenobi was going to get shortened, or was it going to be shortened to 6 episodes? Was that it?
6.
It was 6.
I think it's like ever changing, and especially with new writing, we just don't know like how much they're like rewriting right now. I don't know what the deal is. I think because for all we know, it could be a complete rewrite, which I hope it's not, but who knows?
Yeah, I'm curious to see what directors they get for Kenobi. And speaking about Kenobi real quick, I was watching the Mando documentary, and all these people are so enthusiastic about Star Wars, and all the actors have said like they credited the directors for getting them like what they need to do in the writing, whatever. It just made me a lot more nervous for the Kenobi series in terms of I can't see people being like, thank you, Joe B. Harold, for really crafting this amazing story for us. Like,
I hope he proves us all wrong.
I'm sorry. Like I was driving today. I'm like, these people have to work with Joe B. Harold. Like, granted, we still don't know what the directors are, but especially
Well, is it Deborah Chow's
documentary-
showrunner, right?
Yes, you're right, and I hope
Okay.
she directs some of her some of these episodes.
I
That haven't
imagine
been
she's
confirmed
doing like
yet.
a Fincher thing, like Fincher did with Mindhunter, where she directs like the pilot in the finales of this mini series or whatever.
That would be
which would
best
be
case
cool.
scenario. Yeah.
But
Mhm.
it could just. I really don't hope she like slips into like an executive producer role, which would suck a lot.
That would, yeah. Especially after seeing what we saw from her in today's documentary, or at least I saw it today. Her documentary about wanting those genuine, one of those emotional character beat moments. I'm like, this is what I want from Kenobi. I want these dark, sad, happy, whatever, these emotional moments from Kenobi, just pondering what he just went through with Revenge of the Sith. So hopefully that's the case, and hopefully they get some good directors outside of herself.
Exactly.
This is a funny moment.
yeah, that was really funny. He was like, sorry, Filoni, that was really a deep cut for me. And they all started laughing. I didn't even know what Filoni was talking about for a sec. I didn't rewind it, but yeah, that was really funny. When he was saying like, oh, remember 3PO, that one shot where he just walks away and the camera just cuts away? And
I think it was
Favreau's like,
That's right. In Cloud City, right?
Yeah, I think he was saying when 3PO got shot, and it was just like everybody kept walking. Nobody.
And it's interesting that we got a little bit of context to that helmet shot with the spears, because Filoni's like, yeah, we're just gonna hold on it for a second. I'm like, you're tooling with us, Filoni. I swear there's like, it was at least like a visual tease or like something, especially like, I don't know. I'm curious to see if that ever pops up again in any other fashion.
Yeah, I mean, he held that shot on long for the Clone Wars, and he did it for Rebels too.
Yeah,
or not Rebels, for Mando. Yeah, it's a dark shot.
Mhm.
So in following forward with other developing projects, it has also been officially announced that Taika Waititi is going to be given the reins to his own feature film.
Indeed,
So-
let's go.
Yeah, this is very fascinating. And off the heels, again, I just watched it today, the Mando documentary of Taika talking a lot about Star Wars, about how he directed those Star Wars episodes, with saying one of the comments that really stuck with me was how he said, I have to credit John and Filoni for really reining me in terms of Star Wars. Because he said, I didn't want to like have to zigzag, or I didn't want to do all this. I'm really happy for Filoni and John for really reining me in, so I didn't go too crazy with it or whatever, which is what a lot of people are concerned about in terms of Taika Waititi. Is he going to be like, I hate saying this because I don't think it's going to be true, but a lot of people are concerned, like, is he going to give us the Taika Waititi kind of humor, like the Thor Ragnarok kind of humor or whatever? And he kind of even talks about that in the episode where he says, I forget the exact line here. Let me see my notes. He said, like, I want the humor in the action so it doesn't take itself 100% seriously, but it does believe in itself.
Yeah.
Great quote.
Well, look at the Mando finale itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Mando finale, like, it had its comedy in the beginning, but other than that, that was it.
I can really only think of like 2 moments of comedy, like the magic hand and just like when he was damaged, like
The whole opening too,
Baby Yoda.
with the 2 troopers.
Oh yeah.
But
Other than like those 3 moments, like the rest is like really like seriously like driven, I feel.
I agree. And that's the beauty of that finale, because all of that humor stays in character. Because like these are stormtroopers, so as an audience, we haven't been taking stormtroopers seriously since 1977. So it's great to have that kind of humor with the stormtroopers because we don't take them seriously. And the whole magic hand thing moment is really funny because we see Yoda do crazy hand gestures ever since like the 2nd episode of Mandalorian. So it just really worked, and a lot of the humor made sense. And I think same thing with Rian Johnson's Last Jedi. People didn't like that humor, but even then, I thought it made sense for those characters to make those kinds of jokes. So I'm not shocked, or I'm not worried at all for Taika with doing his humor in his own original Star Wars movie.
I agree, and I'm probably like 90% on board for this. The only 10% of my apprehension comes from like looking at like Lord and Miller and people that kind of have like that improvisational kind of humor, that like to kind of find the humor on set and do a lot of takes. And I know Thor Ragnarok had a lot of that, where they were doing especially for like the Loki story, when they're talking, where Thor is talking about, oh, Loki did this and the snake and all that stuff. Those were all different kind of just quips. And I think what really sold me was hearing his thoughts in this first episode. And I think he's exactly right that Star Wars, about where he was finding his humor and kind of like where he was grounding himself at the same time. And all other aspects besides Thor Ragnarok, I love all of Taika's other movies. So it's now with his sensibility being cemented for me, like in that finale episode, like I think he's more than capable and deserving of this. And we also have to remember that he has somebody that's going to ground him on this project, and that's the co-writer of 1917, which is super awesome news that she went from 1917 to Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho, which we have yet to see, and then this job. So I'm glad that she's kind of getting some recognition in the headlines too, because I think, I preached the praises all before The Rise of Skywalker. I'm like, oh, Chris Terrio and JJ will like balance each other out. They have like opposite sensibilities, and that was not the case. But I think here it could be an instance of her kind of grounding the story in more perhaps some of the bigger picture stuff, and Taika really focusing on, finding that humor in the action and like all the dialogue things.
Yeah, it's very fascinating, Carson, because I was that guy in February last February, whatever, when Oscar nominations came out, and 1917 was nominated for Best Original Screenplay. I was shocked because I was that guy who kept saying, like, what's so great about the screenplay in 1917 when it's just like guy running, the guy ducks under the bridge, he jumps off the bridge into the water. But having like watched the movie multiple times, I understand how good that script is, especially the last scene of the movie, one of my favorite moments of the movie. No spoilers, but yeah, I loved I love her, and I'm really curious to see what she brings to Last Night in Soho. Like I know that's more of an Edgar Wright thing. I know how he likes to write and direct his movies. So I wonder how much she did for Last Night in Soho. I wonder, did she do the whole screenplay for that one? I know she's credited, but usually Edgar Wright like does his own things.
I don't know if it's co-write or like co-story credit. I don't.
Yeah,
I have to look on the
that.
IMDb.
But yeah, so I'm very curious to see what she does there to even more justify why she's working with Taika. But I'm very happy for her. So yeah, maybe like you said, she can rein him in.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm wondering how like they kind of maybe they already knew each other, but if you're Taika right now, you're kind of on top of the entertainment world. You can get anybody. Like it's kind of interesting that I'm glad they went with this choice because it kind of shows you that they're just hopefully honing in on being able to get the female perspective and other people to kind of usher along this new era, which is super exciting to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In regards to Taika's film project, since it is a specific film project, they had the set 3 film dates already. Do you think Taika's getting one of those? And if that's the case, do you guys still feel like it's going to be a part of a flowing trilogy, or do you think they'll be on their own? And do you think they'll be set in our familiar timeline era of the 70 years that we know, or are we going to go maybe back to High Republic for that?
Well, if everything is going on with High Republic right now, like they're announcing all these books and stuff, I wouldn't mind them doing this entire film series for High Republic. I feel like I wouldn't say tired out, but I feel like we've told all the stories we need to tell, except Solo 2. We've told all the stories we need to tell in the Skywalker era of Star Wars,
I totally agree, Brandon. And that's a great question, Nathan. Where are we going to go from here? Taika does not seem like the kind of guy who wants to be with the original trilogy. We've mined that out. We beat the horse, or whatever it is. Beat the cow horse. So yeah, I'm like, I don't really think he's going to be doing the original trilogy or the prequel era or the sequel era. Or a lot of people always have this fascination with going beyond the sequel era, which makes no sense to me. So yeah, I think we have to go back in the past, and then that leads us to the High Republic. But then we had that article with the High Republic where it said like these don't have any effect on the upcoming films or TV series. I remember that quote going around there. So I don't really know what's going to happen. It could be like with Ryan, or what used to be Ryan's thing, where it said like it'll be just some other era or area of the Star Wars universe. It could take place during the original trilogy, but could be a separate area that we haven't explored before.
Sure.
I mean, Taika seemed like the kind of original weird guy who he's not going to have like some white male hero be his main character lead or something, or we're going to be in the original trilogy. It seems like for all I know, Taika could do like an alien creature for a main character, which we've never seen before.
Should be awesome. Maybe he could play a sidekick or a side character in mocap. I'd be all for it.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, mocap's big now, so it's actually time to do like a alien main character. That'd be really awesome.
Yeah,
I don't think you put Taika in a box. Like I don't think Taika would have took this movie.
If he didn't know what he was wanting to
do, or at least kind of, hey, you can do what you want. And I don't think we're going to see this till 2024 anyways, because he's going to be doing Thor until when Thor come out? February
2022.
22?
So
it got delayed, yeah.
Oh, man.
So I can't see him. My hope would be that he's, on and off writing it throughout the Thor process, especially during post-production, and then hopefully they shoot in 2023 maybe. I don't know.
Sure. That seems like the case. Writing the script towards 2022 and then start shooting in 2023 for it to come out December 2024. And going back to your question, Nathan, I think, I don't think this is going to be connected, or I don't think the 3 movies are going to be connected, at least overtly, because we've seen Taika work within the confines of a connected story in Mandalorian. They talked about this in the documentary, how they all have their own creative, unique voices, and they all get to tell unique tales, but it all connects within one unique Mandalorian story.
Yeah.
So I could see them doing that for these 2022, 2024, and 2026 movies. But yeah, so it's so funny because we're going up on 2022 in 2 years from now.
That's what I was just gonna bring up. What is that spot?
movie? What is that movie? Because we just had before the coronavirus outbreak, like earlier this year, I forget those two guys. The guy who did it's the two black guys that got like rumored to direct a Star Wars movie. Do you guys remember their names at all? I forget
What did they work on?
he worked on that one small grounded superhero movie with the levitation. I forget what it's called.
Oh, God, I know what you're talking about.
I remember that article.
Yeah. I'll look it up in a second. But yeah, so it's like, are they going to be doing the 2022 movie?
And
Ryan
Kathleen
be
said,
doing 2022?
isn't
What's
like
happening?
Kathleen been like, oh yeah, we as part of like her mentioning like, oh yeah, we're getting the 2022 movie lined up and we're doing Mando. Like at least the last we've heard from her.
Really? I don't remember her saying that.
I don't know, or maybe it was just kind of assumed. But
yeah, I think so.
It's interesting because you would think it would be announced this year at the latest.
At the latest, exactly. Because I remember we all thought we might get something last summer about the 2022 movie and what's beyond the Rise of Skywalker, but we haven't. So I'm very curious to see when that's going to get announced.
Without August or without presumably Celebration not happening,
you're right.
I don't know what that's going to look like, which is,
yeah, we have to get a director, writer, cast lined up and announced soon. Because this is the pre-production phase, because they have to be shooting by next year at the latest. So it's very interesting. I have no idea what's going to happen. So yeah, I think 2024 for Taika is probably the earliest, and the only people they have on board. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Speaking of Taika, for Kevin Feige.
Oh yeah, because
that's right.
True.
That's
people,
but he's busy.
I saw things.
He's always busy. Yeah.
Since they got two MCU directors, like right off the bat, back to back, that they announced. They were thinking like, okay, Kevin Feige is kind of stepping up here. What do you guys think?
No.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't want him anywhere near Lucasfilm. No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Like I don't, because some people were considering maybe. Like Brandon's saying, maybe he's going to have a bigger influence on Lucasfilm after Kathleen leaves next year. If she leaves next year, her contract is up next year. But I don't see Feige increasing his involvement. He has a lot of stuff to do for Phase 4, especially with all these delays now. He must be having a huge headache right now in terms of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
But and then
I think Favreau might take a bigger place. We've talked about that before. And honestly, it kind of seemed like as much as Favreau is a huge part of the show, he's kind of well, he talks about this in his interviews. Like he didn't direct any of the episodes of season 1. He's kind of taking a different role of like assembling talent. And of course, a lot of that credit goes to Kathleen too. But I think he stepped up to make The Mandalorian such a hit as it is by getting all these people in the first place, you know? So I could see him over Feige being more involved in like assembling talent, maybe. I don't know.
When I was like pondering like who could replace Kathleen Kennedy if she leaves next year when her contract is up, I was thinking like Michelle Rejwan, but that was before I saw The Rise of Skywalker, and she had a lot of creative influence on that movie. I mean, I don't want to kill somebody because of one movie, but I don't know. It's just a bad look. But she had a lot of connections with J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams is a very talented producer. Regardless of how you think of his directing, he's a very talented producer. So maybe she had a lot of influence there. But Jon Favreau is always a very credible person to be the next head of Lucasfilm. Because I don't think it will be Dave Filoni or anything.
No, I don't think
I'll
so
be
either.
shocked if that was the case. So yeah, I'm very curious to see what that 2022 movie is. This time is running out for them to announce something. Like, unless, because I don't think it's Kevin Feige. I don't think it's Taika Waititi. Ryan's movie is slipping away day by day.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. He could be a perfect fit, unless, because like Knives Out 2 could come out whenever. It takes like a few months to film that movie. Probably less than a month to film that Knives Out too.
And maybe he has a first script ready. Like, it's been
Exactly
3 years, which is
yeah. I mean, Ryan seems like the kind of guy, like, if you give him a call tonight and say, yo, you're doing the 22 movie, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, he's ready.
I think he's ready.
If they already had been working on it for 2 years ish, at least that we know publicly have been kind of documented. Yeah. That, like, I just don't know. Look, I love Ryan. He's like my favorite director working. But if that press day comes out again of him directing the 20, Twitter's going to have a meltdown. Like, and Twitter is not the general audience. Twitter's not the general audience, and of course Disney knows that. But
do they know? I don't even know what they do I don't even know what they do, Carson. Because if they didn't take Twitter and the reaction to Last Jedi on Twitter so seriously, I don't know. I just think the conversation around a lot of the social media around the Star Wars accounts and everything with The Last Jedi, I think will be just different. Like, I don't think we would have this conversation we're having right now on if
it wasn't for the reactions.
Exactly. If Ryan wasn't going to be doing it or not, what's going to happen if it wasn't for the reactions? If it wasn't for, like, Kathleen Kennedy or people coming out continuously saying, yes, Ryan is still doing his movie, because they're just nervous of the reaction. I don't think they're ready yet. So hopefully he comes back in 2026. That just seems too far away, though. I don't know. I really want Ryan.
Yeah, it's like if he's already in sequel territory with Knives Out, it's like, it always was like, before he goes back to a galaxy far, far away, he's going to do Knives Out. And then,
exactly.
Break down more to the success of the filmmaker, like, rather than just the public persona altogether, I feel like.
Right. And The Last Jedi was one of the most profitable movies of 2017. And Knives Out was...
Last Jedi over $1 billion. Like,
so...
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are they could be judging on? Because Last Jedi made more of The Rise of Skywalker. It was critically more of The Rise of Skywalker. Shoot. So, yeah, exactly. It's
everything's better than the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I don't want to go too far. But yeah. Because that's when it gets subjective.
I'm not afraid to say it.
It gets subjective and all, but, like, the facts are critically and monetarily, it made more than Rise of Skywalker, regardless of fan reaction. So... Yeah, I just think like Carson said, if they do like a whole tweet tomorrow saying Ryan Johnson is doing the 2022 movie, Twitter ain't ready. Twitter is not ready.
Twitter is, oh my God.
I would love it. I would scream from the hilltops.
But I will just sit back with my popcorn and enjoy.
Me too.
Yep.
That would be the best day of my life. Like, the worst day of my life would be if they finally like say Ryan's not
creative differences.
Creative differences. Because who has creative differences with Ryan Johnson? So yeah,
man's a saint.
He is.
Yeah, so it's interesting, all these developing projects. I wanted to take it back a tiny bit because the main topic was Taika working on this film in the placement. I'm intrigued because, like, you guys had brought up like the potential of like even like a main character being like alien-esque in a sense, and I think Taika would have like a lot of room to explore his creative visual media in regards to, like, if you set it in the new era like High Republic. I feel like you'd have a lot more of a open non-established sandbox to play in, and I loved like one previous behind the scenes thing he did for Ragnarok, which I love, was he was like really breaking. Actually, it was on the Instagram Live, I think, previously when they did the watch party for Ragnarok. He was saying how much he loved all the different creatives of the designs he was able to do throughout that film, and how it was attributed to the original Jack Kirby designs, which is already like such a vast weirdness, and the fact that he's able to just like go for that and like how he wants to, I think could create like a very interesting new visual type of Star Wars that we haven't necessarily dived into yet. Like, we're so familiar with the original trilogy aesthetic, really is what like the primary Disney Star Wars has been selling itself on to get fans back, like since Force Awakens. So I feel like jumping out into like even newer stuff would be really exciting.
And I hope they let them. I hope they don't Lord and Miller. They get halfway through and they're like, actually, we're scared. and
Yeah,
we don't know if we
isn't
want this
Star
movie
Wars
anymore.
enough?
But I
Yeah.
think they want this movie from Taika. If they,
Mhm.
I truly do at this point in the Disney Star Wars era.
I
I
think
wonder-
they see the like major success with because like granted like with Lord and Miller, like obviously they made great films, like they're like entertaining with their Jump Street films and their Clive Chance Meatballs, but they didn't like really like super knock it out of the park until after they were let go, and then they dropped Spider-Verse into the world.
Well,
yeah,
Lego, you're
exactly.
forgetting Lego movie too.
Oh yeah, they did do okay.
Yeah.
Oscar nominated
huge.
Lego movie. Oh, I
Yeah. Oh wait.
Ah.
mean-
But on the reverse of that, like Taika was able to do the big franchise weirdness with Ragnarok, and that was a huge success. Followed by, he got to work with Star Wars already with Mando, and like he's
And
like
Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit,
and
Oscar.
Jojo Rabbit, like which
Yep.
won him an Oscar.
Mhm.
So the award potential around that, and like the fact that he has already played in with Star Wars, and like he's like chill with like the creatives, like they're still like comfortable with like let him do stuff, but also flow the narrative. And
Yeah.
I also loved that like Jon Favreau was saying at some points they were showcasing to Disney the episodes, and sometimes they were like, oh, this is a weird one, and there was like, I know, isn't it great? And they let it run.
Yeah. I wonder what that not press meeting, just that meeting in general was with Taika Waititi. Were they like, hey, you want to do a Star Wars movie? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, okay, cool, that's it. It's like,
Or do you think Taika pitched something? Like I don't know how.
I don't know, dude. It seems like they went to Taika. Like it seems like they did the
Yeah.
Marvel approach where they just go to somebody and be like, hey, do you want to do this? And then they pitch. But
It's-
I don't know. Because this whole pitch meeting process is kind of what the issue they had with their past directors. Like they would apparently pitch something and then weeks go by, months go by, they get to direct
And
the
rein
movie,
it back, you know.
and then they rein it back. Like, yeah, Lord and Miller probably had to pitch something. Like, didn't they know what Lord and Miller were getting into before they actually had cameras rolling? Maybe they didn't. So hopefully they know now. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if like during, because you see the behind the scenes, you see the different directors, and they're like with a bunch of creative heads all around, and like even like that like fun photo shoot with all the directors with Kathleen Kennedy there. I wouldn't be surprised if just like around like working on different things, they're just like simply chatting, and then they're just like yeah, I'm developing this Star Wars right now, but like I've always like thought like this could be a cool idea to do stuff like this, and you just like in talking passage, but then like it maybe like sticks with somebody like Kathleen or somebody to like maybe
Yeah.
like, oh, well, you know what, this was a big success and like he proved himself, why don't we try to explore what he has in mind?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great point there, Nathan. I could totally see like a story like that coming years later when they're like, you know what? Taika was on the Mandalorian set and he told me this story, and I was like, we have to get him for his own movie. I could totally see that happening.
Yeah, I see it like in an instance like, and I mean, I know you're not like the biggest fan, but like John Nolan pitching Rogue One, like
Oh yeah.
his whole initiative was that just like always like the fascination of like, well, what if we did run with that opening crawl, and like worked out. So
Exactly. Yeah. It's one of the best parts of the filmmaking process where things can just be so organic like that. Like anybody can just come in, pitch a story, and then there you go. So maybe that just happened with Taika. I wouldn't be surprised.
absolutely.
So yeah, I hope he's doing High Republic. It makes a lot of sense given what they're doing, but it also at the same time, it'll be kind of weird for a lot of the High Republic authors and the people that helped mold and create the High Republic as we know it, or as we will get to know it. Are they going to be talking with Taika? Is that the case? If that's the case, then it doesn't seem like something that Taika would pitch or something that Taika would delve into because of all the restrictions with what the authors are setting the guidelines for the High Republic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe so the High Republic is like what, 200 years? So there's a lot of time period. Maybe Taika can just do something and then the authors work around that.
Yeah.
It's interesting because this is the first time where the authors are doing it before the filmmakers, because everything that we have so far are a lot of the canon authors, whether they're books or comics, they're working around the directors, which a lot of people had issues with. Like, why are they working around the movies? They can't do their own original stuff. That's why we got stuff like the Phasma novel or Lost Stars. Like, while they're all original, Claudia Gray had to work around what JJ was setting up in The Force Awakens, or the person who did Phasma had to work around what Ryan was doing in The Last Jedi in terms of timelines. So I don't know. This is gonna be very interesting next couple of years for Star Wars.
Always in motion is the future.
Exactly.
So it's all very exciting stuff. And before we leave the realm of live action, I did want to touch on one more thing. There's a rumor going around that in talks. Exciting if it does turn out to be true, whether it is or not. I mean, try to keep my hopes up. But there's a rumor going around that Hayden Christensen is rumored to be reprising his Anakin role in some project, and if it's some project, I would have to presume it involves Kenobi.
You never know. It could be Cassian Andor.
Could you imagine?
If they were to bring Vader into Cassian, you would have to get Spencer Wilding, the guy who did Vader for Rogue One.
I agree. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, they're not going to do it. I mean, they built the suit for Hayden in 3, but like I'm pretty sure he was on stilts and stuff, and they like shot from. But no, I think the Kenobi aspect of it, I've been like pitching many ideas that I think would be great in regards to either whether they're flashbacks established or if they're like nightmare sequences or like a haunted like type vision, force connection to the current Vader in existence. I feel like there's a lot of different routes you could do, and if they do get Hayden, it doesn't have to be for a long time. I imagine the screen time would amount to not even 3 minutes, but I feel like whatever they would come up with would have a lasting impact and a very big standout scene in this likely now limited series run.
I agree. And we talked about it before, I think a few episodes back on here, about like nightmare force visions and kind of like, especially if hopefully they lean into like a PTSD and all the guilt that Obi-Wan has. And maybe that's interfering with whatever the bigger mission becomes, because I'm sure there'll be something bigger that kind of threatens his stay on Tatooine, or from his ability to be able to protect Luke. And I think that Anakin is definitely a key to this story. I just don't know how they would use him and how sparingly they're going to use him, but I think there's a lot of potential. So I'm here for it if it happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's funny when you guys like tweeted this out, or when you guys dropped it in the group chat, I was like, it sounds like BS, but it also seems like something we've all talked about. Like, it seems very plausible for Anakin to be in the Kenobi series. Like you guys said, it's so good to mine a lot of Force visions. Like, we had that interesting Force back in The Last Jedi. And even in the Darth Vader comic, I don't know if you've gotten far into it yet, Carson.
Not yet.
Vader has some Force visions. You could have Obi-Wan Kenobi have his own Force vision of like, what if he made a different decision there? What if he didn't kill Anakin there? You could have like this unique what if scenario running in Obi-Wan's mind. Like, okay, what if I didn't kill Anakin here? What if he killed me? So there could be a lot of unique stuff that they can mine. Anakin just seems it seems very plausible for him to appear. He's
there's a lot of unique Force potential of like Obi-Wan exploring the Force and maybe getting too close to that presence, or
exactly.
getting pulled. I don't know. I think it kind of reminds me of something like we talked about last week of kind of some of our favorite Clone Wars episodes and the Lost Missions with Yoda and stuff, like going really deep into the Force. And I feel like there's some light and dark stuff you can play with Obi-Wan, especially because time is going to be huge. Like on his hands, he has all the time in the world potentially for this series, that depending on where it's set, it's going to be, at least at first, it's going to be kind of a waiting game.
Yeah.
I think
sorry, I was going to pitch like I feel like they could do like a really interesting type of nightmare sequence, kind of like what they did with Yoda in Clone Wars season 6, where he's at the temple and it's you see like our norms like Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka, but they're also conversing directly to Qui-Gon and Dooku, who are all still at like a prime moment of the whole Jedi Order. So it's just like more of an instance of like, what if like things were, I'm in my present now, but like Anakin is still with me, everything's good. Like maybe he had his children and maybe he leaves the Order, but like at least he's still in a good place.
Oh, that would be fantastic. And And like just having seen Revenge of the Sith recently, like Yoda gives him that mission to do all the training, and uniting with Qui-Gon, like you said, Nathan. So obviously we're going to see, or maybe not obviously, but maybe we'll see Kenobi fail at first with trying to connect with Qui-Gon and his past Jedi Masters. Maybe try to connect with Yoda, and maybe then he connects with Anakin because he can't get that out of his head.
Yeah, and maybe he's on the brink of giving up, and then all of a sudden it just goes into this nightmare sequence of him getting into that, which would be awesome.
Yeah, but yeah,
with the Kenobi series, I feel like a lot of us are speculating what they could do in regards to like following the story, because there's already been like some couple one-shot comics and stuff in regards to like what Obi-Wan does, and it's primarily like a really like low level type life he's living. He's not like really doing too much. But I feel like it would be a cool instance to not only like focus on this Force stuff and just like the guilt, and I think that's why it would probably work best as a limited series as opposed to like a full-on season.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
One instance I think would be cool because I feel like they're really gonna bank on Obi-Wan watching over Luke. I feel like there could be a cool instance of like Luke getting to like an age that he's like more like rambunctious and like, you know, out with friends and stuff, but like he wants to do more dangerous stuff, and Obi-Wan might be a bit more overprotective, and he would have to like learn to like lean back and
Hold back, yeah.
live his life.
That'll be interesting. Just seeing that relationship between Obi-Wan and Uncle Owen and how to parent Luke. Because Obi-Wan maybe might want to be the guy to like, hey, maybe Luke should start talking to me more here. And then Uncle Owen's like, no, you can't.
That could be some awesome scenes of like maybe they had to like meet up somewhere like in the desert because they don't want Luke to, you know, like just tons of potential of like sneaking around and like, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's one or two, I think there's two issues within the main Star Wars run of where Luke has a journal about some of Kenobi's old travels on Tatooine, and Kenobi's like talking with Uncle Owen and bounty hunters attack or whatever. So yeah, I would love to see a lot of the Uncle Owen and Kenobi moments, and maybe they do cast a very young Luke. That would be very interesting casting if that ever happens.
I still think the best way to have tension in this series, besides that internal stuff, is to have something that threatens his ability to protect Luke and or actually physically be there.
Sure.
Which I don't know what it would be and how big in scale it would be, because, you know, he's supposed, especially with the Empire and stuff, I don't know if Kenobi leaving planet during this time kind of like dips too far into like kind of like overtelling his story almost. But I think it would be interesting, and I've said this multiple times, of like an instance where either someone finds out about Luke and he has to, you know, cut that limb off, and so nobody else finds out, or it's an instance where he has to race back to Tatooine, otherwise something bad's going to happen. I think there's a couple different angles there.
I feel like there could be like a fun parallel in A New Hope, if like maybe there could be an instance where like he is communicating with Qui-Gon, kind of leads him down a specific path somewhere in the Jundland Waste, like where he gets pretty far from the homestead, but then once he realizes like the time or like the place he's in, like how far he is, and realize this would be like around the time maybe like some pirates would be roaming around and could be attacking the homestead, and he has to just like rush back, kind of like Luke realizing, well, okay, if the stormtroopers are out here, they might be at Uncle Owen and Beru. I got to get home, stuff like that, and just like rushing away from your master to get back to the urgency. Except in this instance, I'm sure Obi-Wan would make it because it's fine, but it's that tension, that like panic, and also maybe Qui-Gon could be the stepping stone to teaching Ben to like remain peaceful and to just, you know, let the boy live. You know?
I mean, I agree. I mean, the Clone Wars, Siege of Mandalore, very much so taught me how prequel stories can still create that intensity and that tension, even though we know like Rex and Ahsoka are going to live. It's just how. And like you're saying, Nathan, we know Luke and Ben are going to live in this series, but like the tension of Ben as a character not knowing what's going to happen to Luke sometime during the series can create a lot of great tension. But then that also goes back to the writing of this as well with Joby Harold. Like, I love the notion of Anakin coming back. I'm sorry I got to bring it up again, but like whenever somebody brings up Anakin coming back and Hayden specifically coming back, we're always saying like Hayden wasn't that good in the prequels, but if you give him a good writer and a good director, then anything's possible. You saw what happened with Mark Hamill working with Rian Johnson. I think that's Mark Hamill's best performance.
By far, I agree.
Yeah. So what's going to happen if Hayden works with some lesser known writer? But then also if Deborah Chow gets to direct Hayden, that sounds like an awesome mix to me.
Oh,
so you never know. It's just like I was saying earlier about Kenobi. I'm very curious to see what they get for directors to really put a shine on some of the character moments in this movie series.
Yeah, no, I've seen Hayden deliver good performances. I mean, he does pick up a lot of really lacking projects that don't really, let the boy shine. But there's instances like I watched a whole somebody broke down instances of how Hayden approaches performances and behind the scenes how directors want him to flow with the scene and how he just goes for it. And he's really good. The film he's done I think his most critically successful was a film called Shattered Glass, and his performance is fantastic in it. So I know if he has the proper wording, the proper and he's a great physical actor as Anakin.
Yeah.
You know that. And Revenge of the Sith especially really showcases that. And Revenge of the Sith story alone is fantastic. It's just a matter of proceeding the dialogue naturally and letting that flow. Had somebody tweak that would probably be regarded as such top tier Star Wars all around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it all just falls upon the execution of said story, and what's going around. And he's still a big Star Wars fan, so it's still very possible. He's still charging $200 for a freaking photo op.
We paid $250 for a 5-second photo.
Jesus Christ! So yeah, he's still involved. He's still heavily involved in the Star Wars community, and I think he
went to the Galaxy's Edge not long ago.
Yeah, I think it would jump at the opportunity to be in Kenobi, especially if it works for the story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anybody.
The voice for Rise of Skywalker, so he has a step in Lucasfilm.
It works for his wallet too, because I don't know if he's getting any roles lately.
Wasn't he in that one movie? What's it called? Push? Is that him?
No, Chris and Push.
Jumper. I get Push and Jumper confused all the time.
The last time I saw him was in this weird medieval movie with Nicolas Cage, and I think I turned it off halfway because it was really bad. But it was just the prospect of Nick Cage and Hayden in the same movie, which is too good to not click on it on Netflix.
Yeah. I have to watch that now.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, no, I think it could be fun getting Hayden back. Some people were sharing, whether or not, it would all depend on where their timestamp would be in flashbacks. But somebody was sharing around the Battlefront skins of Hayden and Ewan in their Clone Wars era outfits, and it just the whole prospect of seeing that in live action is
yeah, and you think his memory of Anakin would be those outfits, probably,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they were to do something like that, and if Deborah has the creative reins on Kenobi, if she would just consult Filoni a bit just to get that Clone Wars.
Please.
Yeah, I mean, given what we saw Filoni in this one episode of the doc, I wouldn't be surprised if he's just traveling around all the new series, just being okay, this makes sense, or okay, this makes sense. Kind of like that overseer and that encyclopedia they keep calling him. So
he's the synthesis of what the story group used to be to all these projects.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that group? Yeah. R.I.P. story group.
Where's Pablo? What's he doing?
Yeah.
Not on Twitter.
Right.
Sadly.
No, it's funny. I was watching the Mando doc, and everybody was like, "Oh man, all the canon knowledge you want, you just go to Filoni." And I was just like, "Is he replacing? Did he replace Pablo?"
Where's Pablo? Pablo go to set. Where is he?
The whole story group's just chilling at the George Lucas house and just doing the High Republic stuff, doing their own thing.
Oh man. But yeah, the whole prospect of such a reunion seems fun. Whether or not they were to bring in any other types of people for flashback sequences would be up in the air. Like I would love to see if they could get Natalie Portman back as Padme. There was a time she was just completely done with the Thor franchise, and now she's coming back in a major starring role for Thor 4. And
Yeah.
I think even like recently she's made peace with the whole prequel era and has even like seen the love for her character.
I just had an idea, like mainly because we just watched that Siege of the Sith, Nathan. There's that moment in Revenge of the Sith where Padme tells Anakin, like, "Oh yeah, Kenobi just came over to my house recently, and he was wondering about you, Anakin." What if we see that scene in
the flashback,
the Kenobi series as a flashback of just Kenobi coming over to Padme's house, being like, Padme, I'm not feeling that well about Anakin these days. He's having a hard time with the council and everything. And that could gel right into seeing the Anakin nightmare flashback sequence. Like maybe Obi-Wan's thinking, like, maybe I could have done more. Maybe I could have talked to Padme more. Maybe if I confronted them about their relationship more. Oh.
In Joby Harold, we trust. Joby, if you're out there.
It all goes back to that, doesn't it? Oh, man. Come on, Deborah. Rein this guy in. Just lock him in a closet.
Regardless, I think we're all excited to see this series. It's been like re-speculated like 17 times that it was actually happening, and like it's still surreal to me that he walked back on stage. Like it's just crazy that we have him back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're all excited, and we cannot wait to see what they develop. But that would about wrap up our news for live action. Diving into the world of video games. Some news regarding Jedi Fallen Order, which is fantastic. Not only in the regard that they are in fact working on the sequel, I think coming as early as 2022, which seems pretty.
That's the rumor. Yeah.
But also the fact that this was the first Fallen Order game was actually a stepping stone to develop a brand new video game franchise in and of itself.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think this is off the heels of EA and their earnings call, and didn't Fallen Order make like over 10 million copies?
A lot of copies.
A lot of copies. A lot of people bought this game.
You know what was really the selling point was? I know we give this crap because they put it in the trailer, but Vader, I feel like that sold everyone.
Really?
Because when they put that out, they actually had an up spike in sales.
He's in the trailer? What do you mean?
In like one of the TV
post-launch trailer, I'm pretty sure though.
Yeah, it was
like a TV spot.
Like, as quick as like a 5-second YouTube ad, like that pops up, no warning, boom, Vader.
Yeah.
Which
I didn't get spoiled by it, but
still, all the initial sales, everyone wasn't aware of Vader in the game. It was successful before. I think like the people that kind of weren't decided on it got it at a later date.
I'm sure everybody, when they were hyping for it, they were like, okay, we've had like a bunch of years of just like, it's just Battlefront again and again. Like, here we go, more. And like, finally, like a new game where you play as a Jedi, which I'm sure people have been craving since like the last Force Unleashed game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. Like this is showing EA specifically that the success and the new prospects they can gain from doing just a standalone project that's single player, no microtransactions, and the success that brings with it. Like a lot of people before the whole Vader thing, they got excited because they realized this is a single player, long-term story that they could really delve their hearts into, and the gameplay backs it up. The gameplay backs up the story so much. That was like the best part of the video game for me was the gameplay more so than the story, just for me at least.
Exactly. Your main character didn't switch sides a quarter of the way into the campaign.
Oof. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All they gotta do is fix up that hollow map, and you just have the most perfect
the hollow map.
Yeah, gameplay.
Trash.
Oh man.
I'm excited for like. I think we're gonna get, direct sequel to Fallen Order, and then probably some loosely tied like era stuff that takes the same approach of no microtransactions, single player game, and kind of explore some different areas of the galaxy. I don't know if they're specifically Jedi for each one, but I'd be curious like this style for like a different, maybe it's a bounty hunter, maybe it's I think there's lots of other stories to tell in the same method that they did. And I'm still excited to see both a direct sequel and then kind of different stuff that they kind of cook up, maybe that has a similar gameplay style.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm very curious because EA's at a crossroads here in a way, because a lot of people at this announcement were like, "Yay, I'm super excited for a Fallen Order sequel and the prospect of more Star Wars, Jedi, new games in general," like Carson was saying. But also, they just quit with the Battlefront 2 stuff. People want more Battlefront games too, because Battlefront started off pretty bad, but now people love Battlefront 2, and they
That's
want
why they keep
more.
the servers open.
Yeah, exactly. They want to keep EA to keep that live service going for Battlefront 2. So now people want Battlefront 3, a new multiplayer game to look forward to. So I wonder where EA's head's at this moment to create more single player games, but also do they really want to get back into more Battlefront games too? I don't know.
I feel like maybe down the road, like quite a bit down the road, they may introduce Battlefront 3, like with some new updated stuff of like the current things we'll have to jump eras. I think they'll have High Republic stuff probably introduced by then to where like you can jump on new worlds and stuff, but also some classics. But I wonder, like, because I remember there was a different open world game they were exploring that got canned pretty early on. I would love if like that could maybe be resurrected, or
Yeah,
at least redeveloped into something.
it was that game with the Uncharted director Amy Henning. She was going to do her own Star Wars game, and this was after
Outer Rim,
13.
like open world, right? There was gonna
Exactly, yeah. But then she got kicked off, which was very disheartening.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that like really sucks because at that point that was like my biggest I think that was before even our knowledge of Fallen Order at Celebration and seeing anything. We were just like oh, we're really excited for this open world game. Now we're just stuck with Battlefront once again. And like again, Battlefront has grown into something great, but like at the end of the day, it is like the same type of matches and rounds over and over. It's not the deep storytelling aspect of a narrative like Fallen Order, which has been so fantastic. They developed a lot of great characters, the beautiful soundtrack in different worlds. It's such a fun experience, and since you have locked in with these characters, it only makes sense to get with a sequel. Not only so successful, but just like where like you've just opened the door to like you can go anywhere. There's no preset thing they have to do since they wiped out the holocron. It's a whole new adventure laid ahead of them, but now you have been established with these characters, so the whole setup arc is behind you. You can play with things more with the characters that like they just like play off each other well, but you just have more time to devote to diving into an even deeper story.
How would you guys feel about being able to not just play as Cal, but to play as like Seer and the Night Sister? I can't remember her name right now.
What's her name? Marin
Aaron or something.
Yeah.
Like, what would you guys feel about being able to play out of their point of views at some point in the story?
I would love that.
I would like
I do too.
I'd like an aspect of like different missions where like you have like a mission that requires not just Cal going out while everybody waits on the ship. Like everybody has
No, you do the Empire Strikes Back. Everyone split up,
Yeah,
It's the
you
Empire.
can like choose to jump. I don't know if it would be like an instance where like in the exact like you can choose the exact moment to jump from character to character, but like even if they were able to set that and have like different types of power sets and stuff, I think that would be fun. And especially like I love that the end of Fallen Order still lets you go to whatever type of planet and explore and still just like slice troopers down and stuff all around. But you can explore the puzzles and all that and different unlockables, but like maybe you can have instances where like you have to level up just to get like more of a creative incentive, level up the other characters to follow these different things. Like something as simple as Lego Star Wars would do.
Exactly.
Like you have to unlock these certain characters, get this, like it'd be great incentive, but also you got to make sure they have great gameplay.
Yeah, I was literally about to mention Lego Star Wars. They've been doing that for years, where you can just switch in and drop out.
Yeah, and they got
certain characters.
Yeah. And that'd be fun. I mean, it might shake up your canon a bit if you're not playing campaign, but like to go back on maybe like previous missions with new characters, something interesting. Yeah,
like I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Remake right now, and it gives you the opportunity to play as different characters within the story. Like if a new character gets separated, or if you're doing a certain objective, you can just, whenever your three characters are walking together, you can just switch who's leading the party, and you can upgrade each of their unique skill sets with different equipment and different skill sets. So I think that's easily doable for Fallen Order, where each character has a new skill tree that they can slowly develop as you level them up throughout the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Lego Star Wars, we're gonna have to. I know we talked about the date that they announced. We have to go back on that though, because Star Wars deleted the video and re-uploaded it with the date taken out.
Spoilers, it's still coming on that date.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
I guess so. It's,
Yeah,
I guess TT didn't want them.
Because that's like the perfect time to drop something like that. I mean, I know they're gonna debut Mando 2, but also just like have like the different content of just like something playable.
Mhm.
I don't know why they didn't drop the date on May the 4th. It was so silly to me that they're like, they do the full breakdown of all the interviews with the creators, and then they say, 500 playable or possibly playable characters, and then they just drop no date, which is just weird to me.
I think somebody had to like leak the box art for them to officially post it.
Wow.
But yeah, it's interesting. I'm excited to play for sure. I think Evan, were you saying on Twitter earlier that like you would be happy if they could maybe bring in some Rebel characters for playable?
Yes. Yeah, I would love for Rebel characters to be joined in on this. Rebels, Clone. I mean, yeah, they already had the Clone Wars, but yeah. If I get to play as like Kanan, Ezra, Sabine, and Hera, some of my favorite characters now in all of Star Wars, that's like my big goal. Because, granted, they're not part of the Skywalker saga, but they're on that big mural that we saw at Celebration. So,
no, I mean, like with
possible.
The last Lego game I think they did was Lego Force Awakens. They did have DLC available that you could get the Rebels characters.
Oh, I never knew that. Yeah, I never played that game.
I'm excited to play Last Jedi. I don't know about you guys because
absolutely.
I know we're all kind of bummed because there was no announcement of the. I mean, this is before we found out about the whole saga was coming to Lego.
Yeah.
Again, that there was no Last Jedi announcement. We were like, oh wow, they're not making a Lego Last Jedi, and then for this to finally come out later this year is going to be kind of an exciting thing to go back through. Of course, go back through everything, but then play the throne room in Lego, play Crate in Lego. Like it's going to be amazing.
I think a really cool thing that they could do is be able to offer. Oh, snap! Sorry. I think a cool thing they'd be able to do is to offer up game updates to where because normally I don't know if it's going to play the exact same way, but like past Lego Star Wars games, they would just play like 6 missions throughout one episode. I think it would be cool to keep the game flowing and alive, to be able to have like DLC of different other films, like they introduced like the Rogue One pack or the Solo pack, or maybe even like flow some Mandalorian stuff or other live action things.
Oh, that's a beautiful cover there.
This cover is fantastic.
Beautiful.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened in my browser. Like I saved the photo, it just kicked me out of everything. But yeah,
as you can see on there, Chewie's got his medal, so that's fun.
Yeah, Chewie has his medal, and then you got Han and Leia just like in the middle of the battlefield on Hoth.
Mm-hmm.
Rey's got her yellow saber.
Yeah.
This is Rey Skywalker.
Oof.
Saga. Yeah, no, it's fascinating for sure. I would just love. I'm excited to see what the whole, because I know they've probably redesigned a whole lot of the type of gameplay that is, because Lego games have evolved a lot ever since the original games.
I can't wait for another trailer, man. Like when that trailer is probably gonna drop summer, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be super excited because we haven't got a trailer and didn't it come out summer of last year? We got a trailer, I think.
I think so.
Something weird like that.
And it was an extensive trailer. It's a pretty good trailer.
Yeah, it was like 3 minutes long, 2.5 minutes.
I'm shocked it's still coming out like in October at this point. Hopefully we all can like play together.
Yeah, I mean they do offer player co-op types.
There's player co-op and
online.
You could do like 2-player, 3-player, 4-player. I don't know how it usually works. I was playing online with Lego Harry Potter back on the PS3. I used to play online with people all the time, so anything's possible.
That'd be cool.
Custom characters and stuff.
Now, do you guys think that we're gonna get like like the complete saga, like we like that kind of levels, or do you think we're gonna get like Lego Force Awakens where it's like all like multi builds? You having to do this, then this, then this.
Combination, I think.
Yeah, because I feel like they've evolved so much, these Lego games, which kind of like threw me off diving back in, because like Lego Star Wars is such a great base level game, how it plays, and they made those games similar, like they did the same with like Lego Indiana Jones. They played similarly. You go into specific sections for your specific films. But then since then, like I've played like Lego Jurassic World, and you go to the different Jurassic Park era films, and just the whole layout is like way different. The way you select different things and characters is just, it's a whole brand new system that like really throws me off. But I feel like since this is Lego Star Wars, one of like the biggest Star Wars games in history, I feel like they may want to harken back to the similar type of style that they had. But I mean, they'll have their new mechanics, sure, and their new base type of gameplay, but I think it's important to have the familiarity as well.
Like you spawn in at the cantina instead of like just a resistance, like as their story progresses. Like in Lego Force Awakens, the thing that got me was like as your story progresses, you'll be at Dakar, then Jakku, then Starkiller Base. Like I'd like to be able to just spawn, like when you start the game, spawn in at one set place, like the cantina or Dex's diner.
Yeah, I like going.
OG.
I liked being around the whole Tatooine place, because when you were in the Mos Eisley, you would just like you would go to like the same specific desk every time, whether you wanted to plug in to purchase character or extras or cheat codes, or you go out to specific places to develop ships and stuff, gain collectibles. Having a set menu area, like one specific one, I think is important.
Didn't they do that for? Have you guys played the Lego Marvel superheroes?
Mm-hmm.
I played the first one, yeah.
I think
they did. They had it was actually New York itself was open world, and you could
exactly.
places, but there was like specific check-in places you had, like you could fly up to the helicarrier and do like different like customizable characters and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm hoping for the Lego Complete Saga. Hopefully, like Brandon's saying, there could be this one general hub, but hopefully the hub is like open world where you can go outside and explore the planet or whatever main planet it's going to be, and go through all the whole environment, unlock secret areas. Because Brandon, I never played Lego The Force Awakens, so how did they do it in terms of chapters? Did they just move you around into different maps, or
Yes and no. It kind of just flows into one. Like let's just say you finish the raid on Jakku in the beginning. You switch between, you play as Poe or BB-8, and then it kind of just flows right into like morning time with well, it takes you back to Dakar first, and then when you hit continue game, that's when it picks up. Like when Ray, like let's just say you finish the first Ray mission and first scavenging, you'll have to head back to where Unkar Plutt's place is, and that's your new spawn area. For the meantime, yeah.
So there's no hub area in Lego Force Awakens?
There's no set hub area.
Interesting. Okay. I feel like that's like the only time I've ever seen that from Lego games, because Lego Marvel or Lego Indiana Jones or Lego Star Wars all had a general hub area. So hopefully they continue that with this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I wondered, in regards to minifigure packs of like different characters. I'm pretty sure in the past, like whenever they did drop those, it was like maybe like $5 or less to get a pack. I don't know if they would offer free download for that. What do you guys think?
You think they could do like paid DLC for new characters?
I think paid,
because like they're not like required to like play the game. It's just kind of like stuff to have.
Well, this is how they got you in Lego Force Awakens. They came out with like the Rebels pack and the Clone Wars pack, and the original trilogy pack, and they were all like at least $10, $15 each.
That's BS.
I think this game will have so many characters in the beginning at purchase date that like I don't know if it's viable for them to even do those packs. Like I don't know how it's gonna be. Maybe it's just updates.
Like
yeah, because I still like want it to be the idea that like they'll develop new missions that you could download for updates, and then you could like unlock characters for that. I think that would be a hell of a lot more better to enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think like all the main Skywalker Saga people, those they're gonna be fine, as in like they'll be in the game, except for like the Rebels people, or like the Rebels crew, or
Like Rogue One or Solo.
yeah,
something.
Rogue One, Solo. I think they're gonna have their characters in there, but they're not gonna do much with them, other than like just have them as playable characters. Same with like the Rebels pack, Clone Wars pack, probably the Resistance pack. Like,
Oh wow, that would be so much fun.
that would
I
be great.
want to play as Resistance characters.
Yeah, let me play as Niku. That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I would
mean,
love
in
that.
the realms of like Lego Miniface, you can transfer any medium, and it's totally affordable. Like you could do anything. So like get
Yeah.
like Wars, Rebels, Resistance, all that different stuff. Mandalorian, I think would be fantastic.
Mandalorian.
Ooh.
That would be incredible.
Oh,
I think you would definitely get stuff like Din Djarin, and even like
Mhm.
I would be so shocked if they didn't design Baby Yoda in his floating pod.
Exactly.
They have to.
But and this is Lego the complete saga, so we're already going in expecting a lot of these characters. Probably, I think it's safe to say all the fans are expecting every character to be in this game. So I would be shocked if they hide them behind like some kind of paywall.
Ooh, Nathan, pull up that question.
yeah, pull up that
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
You think it's
DLC.
Yeah,
I
I think
think-
it would be a type of.
I think she will be in the main game. I don't think she'll
I
be
do
Really?
too. I think, guys, she's a huge Star Wars
and
character.
not
Like,
in the sense that she'll be in the story, but
no, but
I
in the
think you
game,
can-
yes.
in the game, like you can unlock her if you have like 60,000 credits or whatever. You can
Stuff.
unlock this mystery character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you collect a certain number of studs. That tends to be like you don't unlock. You do unlock characters through gameplay, but that tends to be like you complete missions and then you go into the store and they're for purchase.
Exactly. Like do this one special mission so you can get Ahsoka or get Rebels Kanan or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
see,
you go find different unlockables and stuff for sure.
I think with the unlockables, I think it'll be different skins for the set characters in the game.
Agreed.
That's just me, because like they did that. Like you were able to buy like a stormtrooper bathing suit skin in like the Saga.
I remember
That's
that.
funny.
Yeah.
And then, but like I said, like with all these other packs, I think you're gonna have to pay. You're gonna have to buy them with real money.
No
But-
way.
I don't know about real money. I mean, I would hope not.
Because we
That-
expect these characters to be in here at launch. You can't EA us. Don't do that to us.
They did that with Lego Force Awakens. Just saying.
But this is different, though.
This is a different time now. Lego
I mean,
Force
I think-
Awakens, I expect
We're-
the Force Awakens characters to be in there. Like, yeah.
I hope
Same
they drop
company.
more of a gameplay trailer. I really want to see like how the look.
Me
of it
too.
is.
Yeah, because like,
E3 is doing something. Like even though they're not holding the convention, they're still showing gameplay stuff.
During
mhm.
a stream or
They're gonna be-
something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they're gonna be
separate
streaming everything.
conferences.
So
Yeah. Like, is every character, I don't think this is the case, but is every character going to have unique abilities? Like, is Kylo Ren, Rey, Finn, like, are all these over 500 characters going to have all unique abilities? Is
So
that possible?
a lot of the times the Jedi would have differing power. Like obviously, you pick Palpatine, he's gonna have the lightning. So would Dooku. But if you pick somebody like Vader and I think Maul as well, you can have the Force.
Force choke, yeah.
Even I think Luke was able to do that specifically for Gamorreans, which I think
Oh yeah.
That's funny.
I remember that. Yeah.
Perfect.
the different combos I think would be available. I'm sure if you did Kylo, he'll have like Force paralysis type.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Probably. And then
Need it.
Obi-Wan would be like Force mind trick, the Jedi mind trick.
Mhm.
Honestly, the best stuff was like if you wanted to like get by the easiest, you either play as a Force ghost, so nobody can
Yep.
touch
Yeah,
That
or
was
droid.
you. Droid,
OP.
nobody fucks with you because you're just like, it's a droid.
or the same enemy type as the enemy,
Yeah. You can just
such
walk
as
on
like
by.
droids or troopers.
Mhm.
I'm dying, especially to like get back into the customizable tanks, the back tanks, and you just build your own character. Of the
Oh my god, yes.
Dude, it was a struggle back when Lego Star Wars came out because I wanted a character that was black, but there was no character.
I think
like
you get
that.
Lando and Bespin guy. That's it.
I don't even know if he had Lando. Like back when I got the Lego original trilogy, I don't know if like a Lando skin was even viable. So I didn't do the color of a Jawa. just
Evan, have you
black.
seen Donald Glover's SNL skit about the
Lando.
convention or whatever? And he's like, He's playing as Lando, and he's like, we got Mace Windu and that other guy, and it's like the other people didn't show up. Or I don't know. It's so funny.
I have to watch that. No,
Look that up after we
Please
finish.
link it to me. Please link it to
Perfect.
So
It's a struggle out there for black kids. We got Finn, Lando, and Mace.
Citizen. All right.
Yeah, and not really.
Bespin guard.
That's Finn guard and Padme's guard. Yeah, Padme's pilot.
Oh yeah, no, Panaka. Can't forget about Panaka.
Yeah. He's gonna be behind a paywall.
Prequel pack.
Oh man.
No, yeah, it'll definitely be fun. I would love if they could definitely develop different things. Because I feel like if you want to go the realm of keeping the game alive, you could definitely develop different mission stuff. Because it's not like the hardest type of setting to render with these minifigs. Like you don't need the most overly like textured environments and stuff. So if they wanted to like build new levels, they definitely could. So I feel like if you wanted to go beyond doing the films and the shows, live action shows, I feel like you could totally like dive into doing specific like Clone Wars arcs or Rebels arcs and
Wow.
doing like fun stories like that. Like you could totally do like a whole Twilight of the Apprentice mission.
Wow.
And like do like unlock older Ahsoka and
Oh my god.
maybe even have like a differently designed Vader that's specifically Rebel designed, different from the movies.
I'm not gonna get my hopes up, but that would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be incredible, Nathan. I would love that. I also was thinking of like new things they could do. Like, I don't know how the flight combat worked in The Force Awakens, but that was always kind of weak in the other Lego Star Wars games. Like, I would love a cool revamp of all these space battles too in Lego form.
Yeah, because primarily originally it was just like you have your ship, but you're primarily over a base like level line. Like if you're
exactly
over the snow, I think Max you did like the Death Star 2 battle, and you were like flying, but you were still on a specific plane flying around destroyers.
It's funny you mentioned that because that was like the only map that I would keep on replaying. Just so I could just go through the Death Star and escape the explosion over and over again as a Lego.
So every time like it got me though, I would just like respawn.
Me too. And it'll keep on killing you.
And that's always a great consequence. Like if you're like playing for the first time, you're like, oh, I need to get this specific amount of studs. Damn it, I died again.
Oh yeah. Oh, you guys remember the difference between like the prequel version of Lego Star Wars and the complete saga, the damn pod racing mission.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Because it was basically impossible in the prequel version, like not
in the very first game,
because it would count you down, and you had the certain time limit, and it would make it impossible.
Oh, dude,
I remember that. Holy crap!
God, like I never am the guy to throw my controller, but like I've been tempted.
Yeah, no, it was was it like Mario Kart when you like hold down on 2 or whatever? Wasn't it like that where like you had like try to hold down, but it was like the timing was weird?
There was so many like there's a lot of like different points where like you can like run over arrow tracks to speed up your ship, but all these damn like rock things to crash into and back down.
Oh yeah.
And the Tusken Raiders were shooting at you. That's the countdown was that kills you because like even the steering was bad.
Steering was awful. It was really bad.
I must have played like 40, 50 times in a row.
It's the same thing with the Attack of the Clones mission with the gunships.
Oh, and like try not to get blown up.
Oh my god,
that was annoying.
There were so many turrets. Many turrets.
Honestly, one of like a really fun challenge setting that you could do was like you could basically you have a set time limit of how fast you can beat an episode, and like the already preset time is like you have to beat an hour. So like basically make your own high score. So like if you ever want to do it again, you gotta try to beat your own high score that you set again.
And you had to get under an hour, right?
Yeah, for like the base start.
See, that's what
like speedrun type deal.
On my Xbox, I cannot reach 100% because I cannot get episode 6 under an hour.
Really? I mean, that's Endor is so confusing to navigate.
I know. Even the speeder bike one, because it just that takes so long to do.
And the handling is awful.
The amount of times I'm just like I keep having to grab an Ewok to crawl into these tiny ports.
Exactly. I'm literally on 99.3% and I cannot get to 100 because
that's crazy.
Oh, a fun Easter egg. I hope they do it again. Is like you could unlock Indiana Jones.
Yes, yes. Because if you watch like the movie trailer, they'll give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that a thing also in the Lego Indiana Jones? If you found all the Star Wars characters, you get Han Solo.
Han Solo.
Oh, I don't remember that. Oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
That's pretty cool. Hopefully, when you customize your characters in this Lego game, you could customize a unique like Force ability. Because I don't think you could do that on your original one. You all just had like Force push if you were
I
a
think
Jedi.
it was dependent on your lightsaber.
Really? Like
Yeah,
if you get a red lightsaber,
A Force choke.
If you had, yeah, exactly. If you had a green lightsaber, you could
I think they're all
force
similar.
push, and then if you hit blue, you could like mind trick.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, it was like Force push or pull. I think Yoda had a Force pull. There's a lot of different things. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's so fun. All the different mechanics and stuff. Lego Star Wars is such a classic. Like
it's a classic. Yeah.
it's so simple yet so satisfying to just like solve these puzzles and just progress. Because there's also the great base humor that they offer through it. And
I'm so excited to see the humor that they add to this.
did they?
Especially give me more Kylo and Rey moments.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
excited to get that.
Yeah.
They confirm because I know Lego, like the more they developed, they in their adaptations they moved away from their murmuring no speech to taking dialogue from the
Oh
film.
yeah, please give me back the mumbles.
Did they confirm what
please.
for this one?
I don't think. I think it's all.
I don't
gonna
think
be
we know.
dialogue.
I don't know.
Because the trailer had dialogue, right?
They said.
I think.
I think they came out and said you could choose. I can't remember,
That'd be cool.
but I will completely do the muttering, no dialogue.
I mean, yeah, it's funny because like when you do the Empire Strikes Back reveal and the whole secret, it's just like Vader is like murmuring and he's just like
You pull out a photo
just a
of Padme,
picture.
of, like pregnant Padme.
Perfect.
it's that type of humor that's just so
It's
fascinating. I remember playing that like on the Cleat Sog on the Wii like forever ago, and like my dad saw that he was just like cracked up.
I had my whole complete saga on the Wii as well, dude. That's great.
Oh, that's fantastic. I would yeah, I can't wait to get back to it. Ironically, diving into Lego Star Wars, I think we have now officially hit our longest runtime.
We literally have.
That's crazy.
Lego Star Wars.
We are a feature film now.
Gonna submit to the limited amount of Oscars this year. So yeah,
Yep.
So with hour 47, I think that's a good place to call it. It's been a fun time. We're super excited about all the future stuff, Star Wars, and all the different developing projects to come. You know, the Skywalker saga might be over, but there's still a whole nother the whole rest of the galaxy to explore and a whole another time period. So
Mhm.
we're excited to dive into all that.
Okay.
With that being said,
Before we get into social media shoutouts, Nathan, you have a movie out now, right?
oh well, yeah, sure. No need to plug, but I guess I shall while you still can, because there's a lot of people that are just like keep going for it. You can check it out on my Twitter, which is linked in the description below. Go ahead and give my shout out piece with that. I have pieced together the entire Siege of Mandalore arc from the final episodes of the Clone Wars, intercut with Revenge of the Sith for a almost 4-hour long extended cut that a lot of people have been enjoying and a lot of people have downloaded. So get it while you can before it's gone forever, because I don't know how much more I can dodge this copyright. So it's certainly fun though, and I'm going to be attending a couple of watch parties this weekend, especially Sunday. I'm going to be publicly tweeting about it through a popular page, so you can find all that on my Twitter linked below. And yeah, it's going to be fun, and I think it's turned out pretty good. The other guys, most of them here have checked it out and they really enjoyed it. So hopefully you will too. But with that being said, any closing thoughts and where can they find you, Carson?
You guys can find me on Twitter as always at The Force Critic. And yeah, it was good to catch up on all this stuff. I know we kind of felt like we were holding back because, you know, we wanted to take time on Monday to properly close out Clone Wars. And I think now that we're back to our normal show, we're going to have some more time to talk about different Star Wars topics. So stay tuned for more probably different creative topics that we try to fill this void until we get to new Star Wars content. Of course, there's books and comics and Mando coming out in the near future. But yeah, I'm just excited to keep talking about Star Wars. So see you guys later.
All right, Evan, closing thoughts. Where can they find you?
You guys can find me at Harris EV9 on Twitter. And yeah, I watched the Siege of the Sith with Brandon and Nathan the other day, and it was utterly fantastic. So great job, dude.
It was.
I loved watching that whole thing. But yeah, over the next couple of weeks, we have the Survivor season finale next week. So you can see me on Twitter talking about that. But otherwise, yeah, catch you guys next Thursday.
All right, Brandon, closing. Where can they find you?
You guys can find me at FANTASMIC ears, Phantasmic ears. I like to tweet about the Star Wars. I don't like tweeting a lot of things. I would like to, but really good episode again. I'm kind of glad we didn't talk about all this news on Monday because we would have been up till like 4 in the morning. But it was good to finally catch up on all the news, especially giving us a Thursday stream. I hope you guys enjoyed this new kind of time for the people who watched. I really thank you guys for coming in. And yeah, I'm really excited for next Thursday. So bye, everyone.
Yeah, it was great to actually like finish off a show before midnight.
Yeah.
You mean one.
Right. So hopefully we could stick to doing this around this time, if not even potentially earlier. It's just we got in this whole shift, it's a big ask to get everybody together when they have their own lives to piece together. So it's understandable. But we're hoping to see how things are going to play out. But with that being said, if you did enjoy our podcast, hit the like button, subscribe if not already. And that being said, hope you have a great day. May the force be with you always.
Bye, everyone.